You may be hearing this term collage fodder being thrown around on the internet, and you might be wondering, what the hell is collage fodder? I know I get a lot of questions where people say, what is collage fodder? So I'm here to talk about collage fodder and let you know what it is. So collage fodder is basically anything that an artist could use when they're making a collage. So it can be something that you alter, like maybe an old book page that you alter yourself into something more interesting. Or it could be, let's say, a piece of an old map. That's collage fodder. It could be a piece of something that would otherwise go in the trash. Here's a piece of a shopping bag, and that's collage fodder. So literally anything. It could be three-dimensional, it could be single dimension, pieces of paper, bottle caps, anything. Anything is collage fodder. It just, at its most basic definition, it's anything that an artist could use in a collage. So I love creating handmade collage fodder. And I was taught the beauty of collage fodder by all of the amazing artists that had come before me in the world of mixed media art and abstract art. And I pretty quickly figured out that I just had this enormous joy in actually making the fodder. So as much as I love creating a beautiful art journal page, as much as I love, and believe me, I love creating handmade books, as you're gonna see in this video, and as much as I love doing those things, I also love just the process of creating fodder. So doing anything repetitively, I find to be really, really soothing. So it could be a technique that I learned from another artist. It could be just something that I figure out on my own. But once I find something that I like to do, I tend to do a lot of it, basically just because I find it really relaxing. So Tiffany Sharp and I created something called Fodder School, which is a brand new mixed media 12-month long art experience. And the basic idea of Fodder School is that every month there's going to be a new teacher for all 12 months demonstrating multiple ways of creating collage fodder. And that's the beginning of the month, the first 2 weeks. And then after that, in the second 2 weeks of every month, the same teacher who just demonstrated some fodder making techniques is going to be demonstrating a project where they use collage fodder. And it's not just the collage fodder you made in the first 2 weeks of that month. You're going to be using collage fodder from your bank of collage fodder. So that is why having your collage fodder somewhat organized, somewhat accessible, is actually really functional when you want to create amazing mixed media art, because you don't want to be forgetting about all the wonderful things you made in the past, and you want to have a way of accessing it pretty easily. So my partner in crime, Tiffany Sharp, she's the co-creator of Fodder School, and she's also the co-executive producer of Fodder School. She is the teacher in the first month of Fodder School, and she was the teacher who taught us how to make these beautiful watercolor leaf and floral fussy cuts, and she also taught us how to make these amazing watercolor fussy cuts. So she also created, and this is kind of mind-blowing, this idea for how to store the fodder. And she calls it a fodder keeper. I mean, I think it's a pretty good name for what this is. And at this point, I have made 3 of these fodder keepers because, like I said, I really enjoy the process of making books. So if I find a new book structure that I really love, I tend to kind of become a little bit obsessed with it, and then I make a lot of it. And in this case, I'm thinking, well, I can really use these as something really functional in my art, life. So I've made 3 of them and I just love them. They are so crazy functional, but also crazy beautiful. And so what I'm starting to do is find fodder that I made in the past and adding it to my fodder keeper. So I'm just continuing to make fodder and continuing to make books. And I'm super duper duper happy about it, is all I can say, because Fodder School is so much fun, and making these books is so much fun, and making the fodder is so much fun that I've had a really, really, really good 3 weeks, the first 3 weeks of Fodder School. So there you have it. I'm going to continue to make fodder and add it to my books. And I think I'm going to try to prevent myself from making a whole nother book, a 4th book. Here is my 3rd book that I just finished this morning. And I have to say about this one, I've been really inspired by the students of Fodder School. And that is one of the things that I think is the most beautiful thing about Fodder School, is that not only do we get the inspiration from the teacher that month, but then we get to see everyone else's take on that creation. So you start to really, like, your creative juices start to really get flowing. And that's what happened when I saw some people who were doing a little bit of recycling to make their fodder keepers. And they weren't, doing the project exactly the way the teacher had shown them. They were using the structure, but they were doing a little bit of a different design.